Welcome, everybody. This is Dime to Diamonds with Suzanne Porsky of Phoenix Financial Group and Rochelle Harp of Harp CPA. And my name is Jessica. We appreciate you joining us here today. Want to make sure you get the phone number here right out the gate, 918-890-8311, 918-890-8311. And that website, you can always check it out day or night, is dimetodiamondsradio.com. Lots to talk about on today's show. But Suzanne, Rochelle, welcome, ladies. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jessica. You know what? Any day that we get to educate, empower, and help someone protect what they've worked their whole life for, their retirement, it's a super great day. I was just telling Rochelle, we get to meet 5 new families today. I love you guys are calling in, and I love that you're going to the website and that you're coming in. And
it's never too late. And I think that's, one of the things that we talk about all the time, that at any point when you're ready, you need to just call and come in. It's never too late. There's still a lot of opportunities available for people to help their financial situation.
Right. It's starting the conversation. And that's why I tell people, I'm happy you're here. Whether this goes somewhere and you come back, or in a week, a month, a year, 2 years, or you run into somebody, I'm glad you made that initial first step. You called or you visited the website, reached out to us. You're sitting here right now. That's huge.
Well, and you and I always know that the first step is the hardest. And I think it's because of the unknown. Right. And that's really what we're trying to show people is what does it look like when you come in? What are we going to talk about? To try to lessen that unknown so people feel a little more comfortable and are a little more willing to take those great steps.
Right. And I think we can say it's very comfortable, easy transition. I mean, they walk in, popcorn pop. It's either popping or it's ready to be eaten. And then we just go in the conference room, which is really just a comfortable, easy environment. And that's where we start. It's just like, I talk about myself, you talk about yourself. Mm-hmm. We ask them what brought them in. And that's kind of where we start, is just, so yeah, Jess, it's a great day. And because we're going to get to meet 5 of these families that reached out and said, hey, I want to come in and start the conversation.
That is amazing. I can't wait to hear all about those stories. And those 5 people, guys, really simple. They came to the website, found out more about Suzanne, and said, all right, let me get some more information. I want to send her a little note and get on the schedule. That's exactly what they did. And you can do that as well at dimetodiamondsradio.com. Rochelle, you were just talking about the unknown, right? The fear of the unknown. Well, the one thing that will forever be unknown is, of course, what the future holds when it comes to our economy and, of course, our market. I bring that up because a new study by Ipsos asked financial advisors if they're adjusting retirement plans for the current economy. About 65% said yes, and many of them are using a strategy that they never have before. Believe it or not, it's the A word of retirement planning, annuities. What is it about the annuity that is appealing to retirees today, where, let's think, maybe 10 years ago, it wasn't as appealing?
Well, I can tell you right now, it's super simple. People are not afraid of the market, just they're afraid of running out of income. And that's where the proper annuity, because there's all sorts of annuities, just like there's all sorts of life insurance and all sorts of investments. Annuity got a bad rap from decades ago. They're not the same anymore. But even at that, there's different ones. What they're afraid of is running out of money, and an annuity can help them create an income stream that is reliable. If it's got the right bells and whistles on it, it's also taking care of the long-term care piece that a lot of people, my age, I'll just say it, 60 plus, we're wanting to make sure that that's in place. What do you think, Rochelle?
Yeah, so when we're looking at annuities and just the income streams in general, we're not only focused on what that income is that's coming in, we're really focused on that after-tax impact. So as you said, there's different kinds. There's some that grow tax-deferred, which then means when you're taking withdrawals, you're going to have tax implications, and there's other ones. But when we do that, we want to make sure that that strategy fits in with their whole plan. So it's not just, one size fits all. It has to be a good fit with your retirement strategy.
Right. And that's what I'm finding. Our listeners are coming in. They may have annuities and they have income streams set up, and they don't want the income stream. They don't need it. And IRMA has kicked in, and IRMA is that excise tax on Medicare. And they're like, we're not even using this income stream that's been set up when we're talking about different annuities. I'm not using it. And then my Medicare is costing me more because I'm over the income. So if we're talking to you right now and you do have annuities and they are an income stream set up and you really don't need that cash to live off of and you're not using it, let us look at that, bring it in. There's no obligation and there's no cost ever to come in and consult with us. I'll put another set of eyes on it. Rochelle will, and we can see if we can't mitigate some of those taxes and figure out a way that you're not putting yourself. And that's what you're talking about is on the annuities. It's just making sure that it makes sense tax wise. You're controlling that income, but that's what people are saying yes to. About, like you said, 65% are saying yes to annuities. I think there's just more education that needs to happen, and that's what we do. We educate our clients to say, you have annuities that are straight growth. You have annuities that are income related, but let's figure out what works best. So
you're exactly right. And really, when it comes down to it, everybody's situation is different. There is nothing cookie cutter when it comes to planning for retirement. I think it goes across the board that the number one fear is, of course, running out of money, right? How do we know we've saved enough? Have we done enough? How do we make sure we can do all the things we want to do in retirement and not blow through that big pile of money, everything we've saved? Well, there's different types of annuities. Annuity is a great way to also give you that guaranteed income. And I know a lot of folks kind of raise their eyebrows at that and go, what do you mean here? It's going to give me income protection and it's going to give me guaranteed income for life?
Yes. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to talk about personally, husband annuity, $3,000 a month income stream coming in. We have it with bells and whistles on it is what I call it. They're called riders. So I don't want to get too far into the language of this. His is for an income stream for his life and my life. If something was to happen to him, it would continue. 2 out of the 6 ADL. So if you cannot do 2 out of the activities of daily living, that $3,000 payment doubles, and you can either get that monthly, so he gets $6,000 a month, or I turned it on immediately and got a lump sum check of $36,000 when he couldn't, after his stroke, do 2 out of the 6. That is one sort of annuity. The lady that just came in from the radio, she had multiple annuities where the income was turned on all of them. And by doing that, it was making that monthly IRMA, her excise tax. So instead of $200 a month, it was $500 a month for her Medicare. And she's like, I don't need this money. This is from my husband, from a 401k from a long time ago. I want them to grow so I can leave my granddaughters these lump sums.
Yeah, well, and I think it goes back to that fear, right? Emotional decisions are very, very costly. We've talked about this many times with whether it's annuity streams or different things like that. An annuity stream can help ease some of that emotional reaction when the market crashes or different things like that, because what happens is an impact happens, people panic, they sell stocks, they sell, rental properties, different things like that, and they're hit with high capital gains taxes as well as it impacts the IRMA. And so it can be really costly for individuals when they make those emotional decisions, and having something like an annuity in place can help mitigate some of that fear.
I want you listeners to understand something. If you get nothing else out of this, we are here just to have a conversation with you. There is nothing to buy. There's nothing we're going to sell you. We are here for you. We're here for our community, especially for women. We want to be heard, and it's nothing against the other, male gender. We're just built different, and there's times that, yes, women, you can ask all the questions to Rochelle and I. She is a very trusted source. She's got her own office, her own business. We just happen to have a very strong collaboration where we can work together, and we have the same thought. Let's get these people educated so they feel empowered and they can make the decisions themselves. So that's why I tell you that there's nothing to buy. There's just conversations to be had. So, yes, you're right. People are afraid of running out of income.
You're exactly right. No cost, no obligation to come in and begin this conversation. And Suzanne, you say it all the time. Education empowers you, right? We want to give you that power when it comes to creating your very own financial future and your retirement plan. Come in, sit down with Suzanne today. Again, no cost, no obligation. Get those questions answered about your financial future. 918-890-8311. 918-890-8311. And again, that website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Suzanne, you've mentioned a couple times how you guys really like to focus on those women out there, the single women, because let's be honest, we're gonna outlive a lot of these guys, and 9 times out of 10, we just feel comfortable talking to another woman, and these are really emotional, sensitive topics, and especially maybe when a woman is a widow or a single woman, you feel like, well, I just need to talk talk to somebody that thinks like me. And I don't want our listeners to misconstrue the fact that, yes, you guys will meet with anybody and everybody. But for those women out there that feel, you're just a dime a dozen meeting with these other, financial people out there and you're not being heard, that's not what's going to happen when you sit down with Suzanne of Phoenix Financial Group. Suzanne, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so we had somebody come in that was listened to the radio. We just started with our normal casual conversation of what's going on, what does life look like right now. And she finally said, my husband passed away and I haven't opened his mail. And she said one of it said tax documents, so she had a friend open it. And she has this lump sum that needs to be taken care of. And I said, don't worry about it. You bring it in. Like, let's talk about it. I not even let's talk. Let me look at it. And that's what they want. She wanted to, I said, is it hard? Does it bring back, I'm going to get emotional talking about it. Does it bring back the loss of your husband and the fact that he's not here? And she goes, absolutely. And that's why I have a lot of Kleenexes, and she's able to cry and work through it. And she's like, it's a very vulnerable place where men, kudos to them, man. They just kind of take it, in the cheek and they're tough. Us women, we're like, no, this is life changing. And, I know I need to work with it and I know I can't keep burying my head in the sand. And that's what I do, what I do. I want you to know that you're heard and you're seen, you're in a safe place. We'll take it as slow as you want or not at all. And you and I have opened up a mail for males.
Yes, we have.
They're just like, I don't want to deal with it. And I go, yeah, I get it. So let us open it up. And then we just give it to you in plain English. Like, okay, super simple. This is where it is. This is what needs to be done. And offer some solutions and give them education on it and let them go from there, which seems to result in having a better understanding.
And working with Suzanne, guys, I'm telling you, it was a great first step to take in finding that clarity. 918-890-8311. 918-890-8311. The website, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Coming up in just a moment. If you're one of those that is the coulda, shoulda, woulda, I wish I would have done this, you're not alone. We'll talk about it in just a moment.
Suzanne and her team at Phoenix Financial Group have a special invitation for you today. For the next 5 radio callers, they'll sit down with you personally and help create a custom retirement plan for you. It's complimentary and there's no obligation. Just call 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. Together with you, Suzanne and her team will look at your investments, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, show you how your life's savings can create a dependable and sustainable income in retirement. Call today for your custom retirement plan, 918-890-8311, and online at dimetodiamondsradio.com.
The headlines about Social Security and the stock market are crazy. There's a lot of things you can't control about retirement, but there's one thing you can. You can call Suzanne Porsky at Phoenix Financial Group. Call for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting today, 918-890-8311 or at dimetodiamondsradio.com.
Welcome back. We appreciate you joining us. This is Dime to Diamonds, and we love hearing from you guys listening to the show. What are some topics you really enjoy hearing Suzanne and Michelle discuss? And is there something top of mind we haven't gotten to that you're looking for more information on? Really simple, 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. That website, day or night, check it out, dimetodiamondsradio.com. Let's jump right back into it, ladies. A study by Nationwide Retirement Institute talked to some recent retirees, and they highlighted some concerns that we've seen before. They say about 55% regret how they have saved. They say they wish they had started sooner, they had put away more. And that's not all the survey found. Here is Carrie Hannon with Yahoo Finance.
I think that what happens is, and what this study shows is people who are getting nervous like this, especially these new retirees, they're actually starting to pay attention to their investment portfolios, which is fine on one hand, but they're making changes. And we all know that often might not be your best move to go shifting things around just when things are a bit rocky.
Okay, well, this kind of goes back to what we've discussed before about, being emotional and just getting kind of, oh my gosh, the market's doing this, we got to pull and do this and that, and you could start getting a little crazy about it. So why is pre-retirement or maybe even early retirement, those years, why is that the worst time to start making big emotional portfolio changes?
Because they usually don't have a plan in place, so they start reacting, and then that's where Rochelle and I teach people, like, you need to be proactive, and in order to be proactive instead of reactive, you need to have that education and you need to have a roadmap. You can't just start overhauling something and you don't know where you want to go. What you say?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about getting from point A to point B, and we're going to try to get you there in the most efficient way possible. That doesn't mean that we're not going to take and deviate when we need to if market trends tend or maybe there is an adjustment that needs to be made. But just to do it willy-nilly, you're just creating more chaos.
Right. It's like throwing a bunch of snacks in the car for a trip. You don't know where you're going, if they need to be refrigerated or not. I don't know. You're just doing all this stuff. And that's why I tell people, I'm glad that you looked at your 401k. While we're on the 401k topic, can we talk about your prior employers and what have you done with all of those 401ks? And then they look at you like we see deer in the headlights as we're going down our country roads. They're like, oh, yeah, all that money. And then they go, it's not that much. It's not that much. And so we start adding it up. And I'm like, well, we just found a lot of money when you put it all together, and we got a plan in place. And now let's work the plan. And that's where we're able to say, hey, bring in all your 401k stuff from prior employers, your current one. Let's look at that pinwheel. Let's see how you're allocated. And let's see if that is matching up with what you just told me that you want to retire next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, that's a
lady
turnaround.
Yeah, she's coming in tomorrow that said last week, I want to tell my boss on Tuesday. I'm like, holy moly. So we did a quick overview and analysis of everything she had, and then she told me what her goal was financially. I educated her on everything we possibly could. So she has put a pin in it. She's not going to tell them today. She's going to see me tomorrow. We'll go over and, again, make sure she completely understands this is the road, the journey. Like if you're planning a trip to Hawaii or wherever, this is the cost. Mm-hmm. This is what it's going to take. Are you sure you're ready? It looks like this to me, but you need to also understand all of it and then make that educated decision. So I think really just the sweet spot is that 3 to 5 years before, if we can catch somebody, on that retirement, to come in. Even if it's only 12 months, I want to make sure that they are really, they're pumping that HSA if they have it. Educate them on the HSA because some people just don't quite understand, and the HR are way too busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff to explain it. And that's where we set ourselves apart as a holistic retirement firm, is we're looking at all that stuff.
Well, and I think there's a lot of other pieces that people forget to consider. It's not just the dollars, it's insurance. It's, are you going to take Social Security? Should you go ahead and take it? Are you going to go ahead and live off some of the investments first? And I just think those are a lot of decisions, and it's a lot of information to give somebody to then just make a decision tomorrow. Like they want to mull on it and think on it. So you don't want to move fast.
Right. And the other thing is, and which nobody ever talks about until I bring it up, what if somebody's health declines? What if you have a health issue, a stroke? And then more so than that, let's look at these individually. What happens if this person transitions and passes away? How's this boat going to float? And then how about on the other end? That's where we're able to pose all those questions, because for me, I've been doing this for decades and we've seen so many different variations and everybody's different. And that big house you're living in, talk to me about it. Are you on the upstairs? We're retiring. Is this something you're going to want to live in and take care of? And if something happens, I know that personally. It was, and it still is. I just told you today how sore I am from doing all the yard work this last weekend, because my husband is still, in recovery. He's doing absolutely fantastic. But, getting down there, pulling trees out and stuff like that. Do we have a plan in place if a health issue comes up financially, where you can hire somebody? And I had somebody tell me that yesterday. She's upstairs, her mom's upstairs, and she's like, we have to find somewhere where the bed, their bedrooms are downstairs because we're not getting younger.
When I think it goes back to when people come in, we have those conversations. It's not really just about, let me see this statement and that statement. It's really a conversation about where you are today and where do you want to be in the next 5 years. And what are all the different possibilities? And I think that's the piece that a lot of places don't ask people is it's not, what do we think can happen? What do you want to happen?
Mm-hmm. It's not just transactional. I'm not that firm. I'm just not. I mean, I can give you some opinions on stuff, but we really bloom where we can take somebody and say, let's have a conversation, and then let me kind of guide you on what my opinion is on this or direction. And then you take it all and then you let me know how I can help you facilitate your dreams.
Absolutely. And I like how you talk about here earlier, creating that roadmap and essentially working with you, Suzanne. This gives our listeners an opportunity to really allow you to be the financial GPS, right? They kind of know where they are, where they want to be. They just can't figure out, how do I get there? What's the best route, right? Do I need to take a detour here and there? This is where this huge conversation, again, if you want to put together your very own financial GPS, this is where you need to call and make time to sit down with Suzanne. Begin this conversation. Again, it's not just looking at the dollars and cents and, adding up here and there. This is about a conversation, talking about the possibilities of what if this happens to your spouse? What if this happens to you? And yes, even simple things. Is your bedroom upstairs or downstairs? These are all conversations that you need to have. It's not just what's, on this statement. I always call it like the Wizard of Oz conversations of what's behind the curtain, right? You have to really dig deeper than just opening that envelope and seeing how much money you've saved. If you want to come in and sit down with Suzanne and you want to put together your very own financial GPS, we're going to do that complimentary for our listeners today. And I'll tell you what, if you're 3 to 5 years away from retiring, guys, you got to jump on this now. Again, that complimentary financial GPS, 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. Again, the website, if you want more details there as well, you can even request an appointment there at dimetodiamondsradio.com. Rochelle and Suzanne, you guys travel quite a bit, right?
Yes.
Definitely, as much as we can.
Yeah, always in airports, always, with there and here and everywhere. Well, it made me think about this. Have you ever had this kind of airport moment? You're sweaty, your bag's cutting into your shoulder, and your gate is a million miles away, and you're thinking, man, I just wish somebody would rescue me. And then all of a sudden, an airport cart pulls up, and you're saved. Until the driver drops you at the wrong gate. And now you're thinking, oh my gosh, what now? And then by the time you power walk back to where you're supposed to be, the plane's gone. And now you're stuck for 2 days eating crappy airport meals that are like paying a mortgage payment because the system has now stamped you as a no-show for something that you didn't even do. And it got me thinking about our pal Uncle Sam and taxes in retirement, because essentially one perfectly legal move can quietly set off a chain reaction that you don't feel until you get that bill in the mail, guys.
And were you talking about the Atlanta airport? I felt like I was there in your story.
Yes. The Atlanta airport is quite crazy. Yes.
I busted it after being out there, busted it, got to my gate, and I was like, just sat down, and they announced that instead of in Terminal A, it was Terminal D, I think. I would go, no. And I just sat there with myself for a minute, and it's like, how am I going to do that sprint with the sweaty palms and the bag digging in my shoulder? And then the guy pulls up because you want to ride back to where that little train thing is. I was like, sure, I'm going to blow some steam off. But yes, you're right. And that we talk a lot about that, Rochelle, where, that retirees don't understand that the RMDs that are coming up, those required minimum distributions. I mean, now they're allowed to put it off, right? Is that correct?
A few more years, yeah. So now until you're 75. But once you reach that age, you have to take it, whether or not you need the money, or else you get penalized 50%.
Right. That Social Security also can get pulled into the tax net. So higher income from missed time withdrawals, they cause more Social Security benefits to become more taxable, even though nothing changed about the actual benefit itself. That timing on there, that choice triggered other problems. And I see that come up a lot. If you're taking your Social Security before your full retirement age, you have to be very, very mindful of how much income, not just for you, in your household. And then I'm going to go back to RMDs real quick. The RMDs, what people miss is if they inherit something from somebody's untimely death and they have the RMD already going. So my dad, he passed away. He had RMDs. Mom had to continue on those RMDs. If she would have passed away, I would have had to continue to take those RMDs. And people don't understand that once it's in place, it doesn't matter your age. Because, I mean, I was, in my 50s. I'm like, I don't have to take it. Yes, because it was already put in place. So that also, if I was in retirement, I wasn't my full retirement age, I was pulling Social Security, his RMDs would have kicked me up and over on the income, and I would have had to pay more on my.
Yeah, when we talk a lot of times, we bring this topic up in the seminars that we do, and people are always shocked at how that calculation gets there, because everybody thinks that it's just income. Whatever my income is, that's that number is. So as long as I don't make more than that threshold, I'm good. And we have to take a step back and say, well, your non-taxable income counts. So muni bonds and different stuff like that. Half of your Social Security factors into that. And if any of this stuff gets you over that threshold, now you're paying additional taxes. Dividends, capital gains, all of those things factor into that. And so it's really important to understand the whole impact and how that might swing into things. So we definitely have conversations on what all kinds of incomes you have, and how we can mitigate that. We also talk with RMDs. There's a tax avenue where we can use charitable distributions. So you're able to donate to a nonprofit from your RMD directly, and we're able to mitigate some of that tax liability on that income. And so there's just different avenues that we use when we talk to people to identify what strategies might be there to help mitigate some of these required tax policies.
Right. And it breaks my heart because nothing was wrong until it was. The retirees, they're not making these mistakes because they're ignoring rules. They make them because they follow one rule because they heard it in isolation without seeing how the system connects all of it together, the taxes, the RMDs, the Social Security, and the Medicare. And so here I'm going to get on my soapbox. What got you to retirement, that asset accumulation, now that same strategy will not carry you through successfully through retirement because you have all these new rules that you were never taught. And so I'm going to encourage people. We do have one last workshop until we take a break for summer, and that is May 28th at the Senior Center here in Broken Arrow. I am telling you, it fills up. Last time it was standing room only. We only have so much to hand out, and like all the syllabuses and all the stuff that we hand out. So if somebody's interested, Jess, they definitely need to get on the website, go to events, look up that event May 28th at the Senior Center and get registered so we can prepare for you. And if you can't make it, please let us know. We can even mail the stuff out to you.
Again, if you'd like to attend this event coming up on May 28th, essential that you visit the website. Again, that is dimetodiamondsradio.com. You click that events page. You'll get all the details there. Most importantly, guys, make sure you register. It's very much so. Your name's got to be on the list. These things fill up fast. Bring your spouse, bring your best friend. Most importantly, educate yourself and empower yourself through education and creating your financial future. Again, that event, May 28th. Give a call today if you'd like to attend. 918-890-8311. That's 918-890-8311. Coming up after the break, the Fed's latest decision when it comes to interest rates and what it means for you and some decisions you should be making today. We'll be right back.